Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. My name is Jack. I'm the founder here at Scenarius. We're a marketing agency that helps e-commerce brands set up effective campaigns on Facebook and Instagram. And in this week's video, we're going to go over how to optimize your website for conversions. As an e-commerce brand, your central point of communication with your customers is going to be your e-commerce website, obviously, and having it optimized for conversions is very, very important for a number of reasons. It's usually the first or second touch point a consumer who's first learning about your brand will have. They'll probably find out about your brand through Instagram and then go to your website. And so it's kind of the first impression. Optimizing your website for conversions is also going to determine whether or not whoever visits your website is going to end up making a purchasing decision. So you have an opportunity there to communicate what the brand is about, what your unique selling propositions are, who the brand is for, and perhaps also generate some social proof around the brand to increase the trust you have with the consumer upon that first touch point. One thing you also need to consider when you're optimizing your website for conversions is further down the line, you might consider running some paid traffic campaigns, whether that be on Facebook, Instagram, or some other platform. And when you're doing that, you're actually paying for traffic to go to your website. So in order to get the best returns on every advertising dollar you're spending, it only makes sense to optimize your website as much as possible for conversions. So in this video, what I'm going to do is split this up into two sections. First of all, we're going to talk briefly about how to optimize your homepage of your website, what the main elements to include on there, and I'm going to go through a few examples of that. And then we're going to talk about the product page and how to optimize that for conversions, because I do see a lot of e-commerce brands doing quite a good job with the homepage, but a lot of people miss out quite a few elements on the product pages that can make a real difference in terms of the conversion rates that you're seeing. So when it comes to the homepage of your website, this is usually the first thing a consumer sees when they first learn about your brand. As I mentioned earlier, they probably might have seen you on social media or heard about you from a friend and searched you up directly from Google. And so it gives you an opportunity to really make a good first impression. The main sections you want to include on your homepage of any e-commerce website is, first of all, an image that represents the brand quite well, along with one header and one call to action that's going to tell people about the brand and give them a strong call to action to indicate to them what you want them to do next. Usually that revolves around learn more, shop now, and those are really, really strong calls to action to use. You don't want to overwhelm the consumer. That's a mistake I see way too many times, where you have too many scrolling images, videos automatically playing, music in the background. All of this can very easily overwhelm the user and have them click off. But the other side of that is it could slow down your load speed. And that's very, very important when perhaps you're advertising on Facebook and Instagram later down the line. You want to have a website that loads very, very quickly. Once you have that header with a strong call to action, you want to move on to a little bit more of talking a little bit about the brand, perhaps in one or two sections. Don't spend too much time on that because people want to generally jump straight into the products. So you might showcase some of your best sellers. And then what you want to try to do is use the rest of the space on your homepage to generate more social proof. That usually takes the form of PR campaigns that you've done with any magazines or reviews from your actual store. And both of these things can be used together to really generate social proof around the brand. One thing you also want to consider on that homepage, seeing as it's the main place where people come as they first learn about your brand, is also to give newcomers an offer. That could be in the form of a pop-up where you offer 15% off their first order if they enter their email addresses, which also will obviously grow your email list. So it's a really, really good way to do it, and I see most brands doing it. Let's jump into a few examples here, and I'll show you what an optimized homepage looks like. So the first example I want to show you is this brand right here called Ballsy. It's kind of a fun and funky brand. They're also very, very brand new, but they do a really, really comprehensive job with their digital presence in terms of their website, also their paid advertising. So as soon as we jump into their website right here, the first thing you'll notice is this pop-up right here, which I thought is very, very brilliant. I've seen those pop-ups a few times as I've been researching different e-commerce brands. But you can see here, instead of just giving you a typical pop-up where it says get 15% off your first order when you enter your email address, instead what they gave you is an opportunity to spin now and win either 10% off, 5% off, or 15% off, depending on what you get, obviously, or nothing, which is really, really great. It engages people well. and it's a way for you to grow your email list as well as give people an incentive to buy something for the first time. But I want to focus on the layout of the homepage. As you can see here, because it's Christmas time, they've obviously made changes to their website to reflect that. That's not something that you necessarily have to do, but Ballsy do a really, really great job of this. But they still maintain the structure of a homepage that's very optimized for conversions. The first thing you'll notice here is, as I mentioned, one image, one header, and one call to action. They do a really, really great job by making it relevant to the brand itself. And then as we scroll down here, they maintain all of the elements that I mentioned before. After that, they have a few sections about the brand and about the product. This just screams out to the user who we're about, who we're for, what the unique selling propositions are, and so on and so forth. After that, they have some of their best sellers right here, and then they use the rest of the space to generate a lot of social proof. As you can see here, they have over 200,000 reviews on their website, which is really, really great. And then they have actual kind of quotations for the reviews, and they also have PR campaigns that they've done down here, as you can see here, BuzzFeed, Men's Health. So again, think of yourself as a first-time user who's just landed on this website. You've been given all of the information to pretty much determine whether or not this brand is right for you, and to take the next steps to make a purchasing decision. So another example of a really, really optimized homepage. This time I'll show you an example for fashion to change things up, is by this brand right here called All Day Denim. Now the reason I'm showing you this brand in particular is because they have a higher budget and they're able to spend some more money on creating a very creative website. But what's more important is they maintain all of the marketing elements to make sure that the website again does what it's supposed to do, which is convert people into paying customers. Again, once we first land on their website, they have one header, one call to action. It's not a pants, it's a state of mind, clearly calling out what this brand is about and kind of the brand voice. And then as you scroll down, they have this kind of creative scroll down effect. But again, it's the same principles. They have a few sections about the brand itself, the features of their products, which is this kind of stretchy pants right here. But you also notice that they still leverage a lot of social proof. You can see that they have some reviews all the way down here scrolling, and they have the Shop Now button that scrolls down along with the homepage, which is also a really, really brilliant tool. I'm sure you can find plugins for Shopify that allow you to do all of these things, and it can be pretty simple to do them without having to hire a developer. Again, they follow that up with a lot of social proof in the form of PR campaigns right here. And one thing they do is not just include the names of the website or the magazines that they've done PR campaigns with, but a few quotations from the articles that have been written, which also work well and allow them to communicate more about the brand. So again, I think you get a general idea of what this looks like. You obviously notice a pattern here. I'll show you one more example very quickly. We can't leave this video without an example of a skincare brand. So this is another brand called Lumen. Again, I've perhaps used this brand as an example for different Facebook ads. It's a pretty solid brand. But again, all of the marketing principles that they're going to use are going to be the same. They have one header, one call to action right here. In this case, they're actually using two call to actions, which is interesting just because they have a subscription model as well as an a la carte model, followed by some PR campaigns, a few sections on why the brand and who they are and what they're about, bestsellers, and then some more social proof down here. Hopefully now you've got a very general idea of what a optimized home page looks like. I want to jump into what a optimized product page looks like. So when it comes to optimizing the product page, what you really want to think about is how do I include all of the elements that someone might need to make a purchasing decision on that product. You want to think about all of the information they might need to make a purchasing decision, but you also want to think about how much social proof they might require depending on the price point of the product. If it's a lower price product, then you might not need to incorporate as much social proof as the example I'm going to show you. But if it is a higher price product, and especially if it's skincare, as the example I'm about to show you is, you want to generate a lot of social proof because skincare tends to be a more intimate product. It's something you put on your skin, so you need a lot of social proof. You need to be sure of the product before you go ahead and spend $80 on a moisturizer or something like that. So I'll jump into this example right here. I think it'll just do a better job of explaining all of the elements that you need to include, and I'll point them out one by one. So as you can see from this example right here, this is the product page for one of their most best-selling products, and you can see that it doesn't look very typical to the typical, let's say, standard shopping page that you get on Shopify. They've optimized it for conversions quite aggressively. You can see here that they have reviews right there on the top, so they're leading with social proof. And in terms of the product images, not only do they have images of the actual product, as you probably can expect, but they also have before and after photos, as well as infographics sharing a few of the unique selling propositions of the product. After that, they jump into more social proof in the form of PR campaigns. They have a how to use video. So again, they're either generating social proof or they're educating the consumer as much as possible on the product, making sure they deal with every single concern that a consumer might have before they buy the product right there on the homepage. They have the ingredients, which is really, really important when it comes to skincare, and then they have a ton more social proof in the form of 1,000 reviews right here, which obviously, I don't expect every single brand to have 1,000 reviews on their website for every single product, but as many reviews as you can. I would say at the minimum have 10 reviews there with varying opinions. That would work really, really well. They also have included some video testimonials and reviews on there as well, really going over the top in terms of optimizing it. They also have a frequently asked questions section, which is frequently missed out on many of the product pages I see. And again, that allows them to deal with any concerns a consumer might have before they make a purchasing decision. They have an upsell and bundle offer. This is quite controversial whether or not you would like to add that on your product pages, because some people argue that this gives the consumer too many choices and it might generate decision fatigue, which will cause people to click off the website. And other people think it's a good way to upsell, but you want to test it out for your own brand and see what works for you. After that, if we scroll down some more, they give the consumer another opportunity to add the item to cart, so they repeat the whole product section down here, which again, this is probably the most optimized product page I've seen from all of the research I've done, and that's the reason I bring this brand up a few times, time and time again, is just because they really know what they're doing when it comes to digital marketing. And there you have it, guys. Those are the main elements that you need to include and think about when you are building your website for your e-commerce store, or when you're looking to optimize your already existing website for better conversions. That's something you want to consider doing as well, as I mentioned earlier, before you run any paid advertising campaigns, because it's going to allow you to get the best returns possible from every dollar you're spending to get people on your platform. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did find it valuable, give us a like. Also be sure to subscribe, as we will be creating more videos on how to optimize your website for conversions, how to run some paid traffic campaigns for your brand. Be sure to check out our other videos on the channel where we cover a few of those topics. And we look forward to seeing you in the next one.